All right, quick update on the Drift protocol hack situation. This is actually much crazier than pretty much anyone thought. The lengths of which the hackers were willing to go to steal this $280 million, which was, by the way, the 10th biggest hack in all of crypto now, was pretty insane. So, real quick, the team in question that actually hacked Drift protocol, they had actually met them back in 2025 in a conference, a crypto conference. They set up a Telegram chat, and essentially they acted as this like a crypto kind of a vault team that wanted to work with Drift to create like a partnership, like any other project, right? And it got to the point such that they were telegramming back and forth. They were meeting at different conferences as well throughout the year, and the hacking team, the team that hacked them, they even put up $1 million of their own capital into a vault to fund, into one of the Drift vaults, and I guess in a way to show, not even to show that they were legitimate, but to just act as a regular team in crypto that they were integrating with, right? Essentially, this is like the pinnacle of social engineering. We've had social engineering attacks before, but never at this scale, I don't think. So they built the trust with this team, thinking that they were this DeFi native protocol looking to integrate through a partnership, all the way up until they had two different things that I guess really set things off. Obviously the hack in this case. One, they sent them a test flight app that allowed them to, I guess, gain access to their phones. I assume in this case it was like a fake or malicious kind of test flight app, not the real one. And the test flight app, of course, was supposed to be some wallet product they wanted to build with Drift. And it acted as like a known vulnerability or kind of VS Code cursor thing that had been exposed back in the day as, essentially it being like a vector of attack. And they just somehow got access to their devices, like the Drift, members' devices that had control over the multi-sig. And apparently this ability to sign, like on the multi-sig, it stayed dormant for like a week or something. So essentially, they had already been hacked for like a week before the hack actually happened. They didn't realize. And so there's two things I kind of want to bring up here. One, what could have been avoided, I guess, to stop something like this from happening, and two, what can, I guess, the industry maybe moving forward do about things like this to also prevent users' funds from getting lost from these types of hacks. There are a couple of ways people were saying. One of them was just be antisocial. Just don't trust anyone. If you go to a conference, only talk to people you know, and that's it. Which obviously does not work for most people, especially for the BD people. You got to make connections. Just be antisocial, right? It's the only way to do it. No, I think one way is like maybe having a time lock on some of these multi-sigs. I realize even though that I guess it was technically they had already gotten access a week prior, so I don't know if that would have helped a lot, but I do think having a lot of these things on chain could help other people understand or see things happening, maybe even if not the team, right? Because someone could say someone's someone's signing something that they shouldn't be signing, or blah blah blah. And obviously when you have a time lock, you sign it, and then there's a couple of days until that thing actually happens, right? But in this case, everything was signed, and then bam, they got hacked, right? They had access to the devices for about a week, but when they actually executed everything, it just went through instantly. The other thing is, and I think this is what kind of surprises me a little bit, is that you should have different devices for important stuff like that. So for example, you have a phone. Everyone has a phone, right? Your phone should be separate from your device that has access to a multi-sig containing that much money. Seems like an obvious thing, but it's the kind of thing that I think we forget about just going day to day, where it's like, it'll never happen to me, right? Why am I going to carry two phones, pay another separate bill? The inconvenience of having both when I'd only need one. Most people don't think about it until it actually happens, right? So having another device for signing things, which I did before back in the day when I was on a multi-sig. I'm not anymore. Don't hack me, please. I'm on zero multi-sigs now. The other thing is make sure that your multi-sig device can double check what the payload is. And that's kind of crypto talk for like, make sure that what you're signing is actually what you're supposed to be signing, if that makes sense. There are times where hackers can spoof, like, so say for example you're on MetaMask and you want to sign a transaction and you want to send ETH, for example. There are times where hackers can go in there somehow and change what you're doing in the backend, but it'll still look like you're sending ETH, if that makes sense. So you could potentially be draining your wallet but MetaMask will still tell you you're just sending ETH. Very scary stuff, to be honest, because, you know, as a regular person, you would never know. But those are some things I think that could probably change. Honestly, that idea of like, you know, you should be downloading things on a phone that has access to like this multi-sig is probably the easiest one, I would say. The other thing that people have talked about is, what is DeFi at this point? And I think I brought it up in the last video. Is DeFi a Uniswap and an Aave where there is zero upgradable contracts? It's completely immutable from the start, and that's it. Or can it be a mix of these DeFi projects with certain access to funds via multi-sig? It's a tough question. I think true DeFi really is Uniswap and Aave. The reality is you can't really scale a system beyond where it's at if you only have DeFi in its rawest form. In all reality, and a lot of people have started talking about this, is why don't we have like a dashboard like an L2Beat or like a DeFi Llama, but for the security of these DeFi protocols? As in, show us which ones have multi-sigs, how many signers the multi-sigs have, what the threshold for executing something, through the multi-sig is, like all these things, right? I think number one, I'm surprised that doesn't exist already. I do realize that the flavors of DeFi and the flavors of how people manage their DeFi protocols, varies from project to project. Some have governance, some don't. Some have DAOs, some don't, right? But it still helps the end user make a decision at the end of the day if they want to participate or not. I personally use a lot of DeFi. I've mainly been using perps back, more recently. But in all reality, if I'm putting in like any real capital that I do not want to lose in anything, it's only in Uniswap or Aave. Mainly because A, they can't be upgradable, and B, they've been around for a long, long time. And obviously they have a lot of capital in them already, right? Those are my three things of how I judge where to put money in. But I will say though, this drift situation is insane. I mean, I've heard of social engineering attacks before, but like, they met these people in person. They met them, they spoke with them a lot on Telegram. This literally could have been any like partner that they were speaking with. That's the insane part. And for me, it's insane because I talk to people and partners every day. So to think that like this entire time for over, was it over a year? The fall 2025, I think is what it was. For like a half a year, these guys are just, messing me around to really just get access to these funds of this project that I'm running. That's crazy. What do you guys think? Is this insane? Are you not surprised? Do you think crypto is too fragile at this point? I don't think it is, but I do think stuff like this cannot happen. I mean, this is crazy. I think in the beginning, everyone was like, oh shit, well, social engineering attack. Someone signed the wrong thing on a device and that's it. To a certain extent, that is what happened, but the lengths at which point people are willing to go, I mean, for a lot of money, understandably, I think that's what people kind of fail to understand is like, this stuff really is pretty fragile. Depending on what you're looking at, obviously. Certain protocols are extremely fragile. Certain teams have incredible OPSEC that would never let something like this happen. But not everyone's like that, obviously, right? Let me know what you guys think. Insane story. I just happened to read it. See you in the comments. Peace.